Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the Bodenweiser und Himmelblau Hour. This is our second show of the season, and it is a little bit after 9 o'clock Eastern on Tuesday, the 9th of February, 2016, for those of you listening in the future.
Last week's episode?
Yeah, we do have the replay of last week's show.
The Bodenweiser und Himmelblau Hour is a reality.
People are connecting on Blab, but taking it offline as well.
You know, we talked about business and marketing and social media. I had to pick three.
I see it. It's like a repeat of 1992 again.
The weird thing is, I'm having lunch. This guy walks into the bar.
Oh boy, here comes the bar joke.
As a businesswoman, I got to say monetization is kind of the king. So I totally get it. You know, props to you, Bruce. That's what I say.
It's beautiful. I love it. I'm jelly.
I have no pants on. It's the green screen. No, and I got the side cam. We love this community. We're here to support it in any way we can. There's Joel doing his good stuff. He's just the hot air. Right.
I'll only say this one time. You are the fruit of my loins. There you go.
That's the elevator. That's it. We're getting off that floor. With that, Joe, thank you very much. We've got the Boston skyline behind me here. And we've got Jens Oliver in the background doing some production work on the square up there. And we're going to have some guest hosts, surprise people. Hang tight. We're going to have some other people come in as well that may be showing up in a little while. We've invited a few folks over. We are 2 hours early. Hi, Marty. A little bit earlier than we expected because Joel Comm's show was shifted for a number of reasons. It's Vincenzo Landino's fault. And so we said, well, we'll see what we can get out of that show at the tail end of that, and just stay right behind them in the next slot. So here we are tonight, a little bit early. I think next week we're going back to 11 o'clock Eastern Time p.m. here on Tuesdays. I believe that'll be the case. And of course, Joel Comm will be right before us with Lab Talk Live at 10 o'clock. So hopefully this sounds good to you guys. You can hear me all right. We're going to bring Bruce come right into the room with us here. This will be Bruce Himmelblau, the second part of the Bodenweiser und Himmelblau duo. And if you guys want to tweet this out, that'd be great if you haven't done so already. And we'll share this with our community. And then we'll talk a little bit more about what the show's about. A number of people. Hey, Bruce, how you doing tonight?
Good. I forgot I actually had to request to come into the room. I thought you were just going to bring me in automatically.
You had to request yourself. You are a host, so you should be able just to fly right in here like Supergirl, I think, was on last night. That show. I don't watch TV, but I heard about it through our good friend Joe Burke, who is all about comics and that sort of stuff. So he's been watching that show. Apparently, he's impressed with either Supergirl herself or the show itself. So it seems like he's impressed enough to record it.
I caught like 5 minutes of Supergirl. And all she did was beat up this guy. And like, why are you beating this
For
guy?
5 minutes, she was beating up one guy, or a whole bunch of guys.
And then this green Martian, was called Martian Manhunter, shows up, and he's not even a real person. He's like a CG guy.
Really? All right. Can you hear the music, by the way, in the background? I know it's in my ear, but
I can't.
It should be a faint.
Music. Yep.
Okay. So we'll leave that a little bit in the background to fill up the gaps of our incompetence here on the air. But in the meantime, for those of you guys watching, you can see the background. That's my Boston skyline out here where I live. That's not my window right now. Obviously, it's dark here. For you guys who are keeping track of time and so forth, you know that's not quite what we're looking out at. But it's a lot of fun, and we've done some interesting things with some backgrounds over the last week. As we have a green screen, you guys know how some of you guys know how that worked. We'll get into that a little bit later on. As you may know, Bruce Himmelblau is doing for over 3 decades now. You've been working behind the camera.
Well, 3 decades with my company, and probably another 1 or 2 before that.
Decades. So he's 95 years old. He doesn't look a day over 32 or 39. And he's been out there with the best of the best, shooting TV. And he's been, I think you were an extra on a film somewhere. Is that right?
Yeah. Back in 1980, I was an extra on Used Cars with Kurt Russell.
One of those Kurt guys in 1980. Yeah. Now, you sound a little low on your volume. Can you turn up that shotgun mic?
There you go. A little bit better there.
Just turn it up a little bit. You don't have to get too close to the camera. We want to scare our folks that are watching.
There you go. Is that better?
That's much better. We can step back from the camera. That's awesome. Thanks for entertaining my humor, as dry as it might be. Angel Hill is in the house. Let's see. Her mind is going the wrong way. Okay. Are you going to leave, Angel? Is that what you're saying to Barb? Or right side. So there's Angel. What we're going to do with Angel before she gets in here is I was going to pre-warn you. She's very excited. Sorry, but she has just gotten a whole boatload of stuff. Okay, that you're going to experience a green screen like you've never seen it, some props like you've never. She looks like who is it? She looks like who did she just say? Who did the Star Spangled Banner yesterday?
Gaga,
Come
lady.
on. Gaga. That's right. She looked like Lady Gaga. She didn't even know who Lady Gaga was. Here she comes. What is she doing? You're on the camera.
I'm having fun.
There you go.
Was I childish enough there?
Was
I childish enough there?
That was awesome. I didn't know what you were tying your shoes or something. You know, we don't really care what your shoes like.
I was hiding.
I would say childlike, not childish.
Yes, like playing. And like the glasses are a little childlike for those of you who can't see. This is just, they're a little bit wide for your face. I don't know if your optometrist let you know that. They do make you look a little bit like your face is narrower than normal.
Are these better?
I'm feeling better. I'm feeling more back in my 60s days. Yeah,
No,
thanks.
I like the first. I like the first pair.
I feel like I'm flying when I put these on. I'm like, I got like the this is green screening, guys. This is a cbc.ca video.
Whatever that means. Tell us folks down here in the United States what that means.
cbc.ca is one of our television/news networks and radio and newspaper and various
The Canadian Broadcast Company .ca, which stands for Canada.
CBC.ca, Canadian Broadcasting Corporation.
That wasn't too loud.
Like
was it?
NBC or ABC. It's like ABC, but further north.
Right. I think she was singing the Canadian anthem over you, Bruce. So I don't know. I should have trumped you a little bit, not to use a word that we don't want to talk about today. So let's talk about Angel just got her stuff. What'd you get it today?
Yesterday and today, because Amazon. Yeah.
Okay. So we got how that works. So you got your stuff. You have a new microphone. You have the same mic that I have, right?
Yep. 2005 USB ATR.
Right. And that blue light is very bright, as you know. All right. So it is given a little bit of a glow. And if you start angling it towards us, we're going to be blinded forever. So you can hit that with some black electrical tape or whatever you want, some gaffer's tape to cover that up. Little tip for people who get these microphones and don't want to blind their audience. Yeah, see that? Look at that.
I actually usually have my mic over here. I was just showing it off.
Yeah, so I bought this microphone the other day, and I hooked it up, and it didn't work. I guess
it looks like the thing on the Super Bowl
I tried
commercial.
running power to it.
We didn't
it wasn't a true. It needs power, like 48 volts of power to go through it.
Okay, you don't have any phantom power anywhere.
No, so I ended up using my shotgun, which I could put a battery in, and that worked.
You should always load the shotgun before you use it, just in case you really want to have an effect with what comes out of it, right? Again, you're talking jargon here. He's using his shotgun to talk into.
You know what happened to me when I got all my equipment home?
Can you unpack that for us, Angel?
It was a bummer. So, like, I'm going to talk funny just because I feel like it. So, like, I got all my equipment home and I was like, cool, dude. I got, like, all the gear, and I could put it all together, and show people how they could be, like, truly Canadian on video. Like, and I opened my beer and I had, like, $5 change that I kept in my pocket. And then I put up the green screen, and I plugged in the microphone, and I was kind of like Bruce. I couldn't get it working, and then I realized, like, duh, you got to, like, plug in the USB and let the computer know what's going on there, duh. And then I got all that fixed. I was so proud of myself, and I was thinking, cool, dude, I got to go find Cliff so he could show me how to hook up my telephone. And my audio mixer went, paf, bzzzt.
What?
It cooked.
What do you mean? The Behringer cooked?
It cooked.
Yeah. And what did I tell you to buy? Did I tell you to buy the Behringer?
Take off, hoser.
Yeah, hoser.
It was $100 more for the Yamaha, so you know. But here's the good
It
news.
doesn't go when you plug it in.
But
Mine's
here's
working.
the good news.
You
I
can hear
called
me. Right? You can
Amazon.
hear me? Is that right? You can hear me through this mixer I got here, the Yamaha?
Yeah, it's good. It's good, Cliff. Thanks for rubbing that in there.
There's a Canadian.
Mm-hmm. So it was good news though, because I called Amazon and I was like, "Hey, dudes, like this thing didn't work right out of the box. They're sending me a replacement before I even send this one back, so I'll have a replacement tomorrow. No charge.
No charge.
No
Excellent.
charge. I like Amazon.
No charge.
So they
Mark.
can make some mistakes. You know, we'll forgive them.
So if
So
you
what are we
stand where
doing
you're
tonight?
standing, I can
So
see through your head into
we're
the
getting
glass,
echo.
into the flag.
Echo. Who's
Is it on
echoing?
my behalf?
I think it's
I don't know.
through
Check,
Angel
check.
possibly.
Let's turn off the microphone.
Check.
Yeah,
Sounds
so
good.
I can
You're
see
not
the
gonna-
flag through her head. I can see through your head,
Oh, those
Angel.
little eyeglasses. See that? She got creepy eye going on. So thank you for the so turn on your microphone and we'll just kind of ignore the echo because it's us anyway that's echoing.
I can turn it down.
All right, so you got a Behringer model that's not working. They're going to send you another one that probably burn up too, but you'll have fun with that, and then you'll buy a Yamaha. And I don't
No.
work for Yamaha. How about that? Just
But it's $100 more, so I can't buy the Yamaha because I spent all my money, eh?
oh, the beers. Yes, we forgot about the
100
beers.
$100 is $100, eh? Like, you know,
You're not kidding.
you know.
I know.
eh?
I know what you're saying, eh? So let's. What else can you show us? Can you show us anything else that isn't burning right now, like that? Aside from your pop filter, are you chewing gum on my show?
No.
Okay.
No gum.
Gum.
I have
Oh,
jaw.
gum.
I had my jaw dislocated a few years ago, so sometimes
I had nothing to do with this. It was
I
Bruce's
just
fault.
do this jaw thing. It hurt,
On
man.
purpose?
Why? Do you want to tell that
Is that
story
on
or not?
purpose?
Sure, why not? I was 16 weeks
Hold
pregnant.
on. Barry Brooks is here. Cover your ears, Barry. Go ahead.
Yeah, shh. I was 16 weeks pregnant at the time, and this girl and I had a verbal confrontation, and she knew I was pregnant. And I said something I shouldn't have to her because sometimes I have verbal diarrhea. And she punched me very, very hard in the jaw and instantly dislocated it. And then we got into a scuffle and she was like, I'm going to kill your baby. And she was like, thank God my friend was there. And the police actually just happened to be driving down the road and they just happened to see the altercation. So obviously she was guilty. And yeah, they took her to jail and I never had to deal with it again.
Yeah. And I just on that note, I just removed my camera completely from my XSplit. I got so shook up by that story. That's horrible.
It hurt.
Verbal altercation, and you weren't expecting her to make it physical, and you weren't not prepared for this right hook, as Gary Vee would say, and you took it on the chin, as somebody else would say. It's Confucius. Is that right, Bruce, or is that you? There you are.
Ding, ding.
Ding, 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 ding.
For all my blab friends, if you guys see me and I look like I'm chewing gum, but I'm not, it's actually just, it's not even pain. It's like this weird jaw thing ever since then. I don't know.
Yeah, so you got your TM joint is dislocated, probably permanently, where it's just kind of floating about, and only the glasses keep it in check. That's pretty crazy. The flag is right through those glasses. That's a keeper.
Yeah.
It's green, right? So
Well, yeah, it's blowing right
So
through. So
if-
people, go ahead. You explain this, Bruce. Well, I try to get my camera back on here.
Angel does not actually have a brain in her head, and that is why we can see through it.
That was a good
Puts
joke.
on the magical X-ray glasses. You could see that there's
Blonde
no
hair.
gray matter in there at all. She was blonde. This is
Figment of my imagination.
why blondes have more fun, because they don't realize really what's going on. That's a joke. Don't anybody write me letters and send me nasty DMs about blondes. I love blondes of all kinds and shapes of all over the world. I don't care what else they have for attributes. Blondes are wonderful.
Wow. Look at that shit.
That is crazy green stuff. So what's happening there? You want to explain that? Or Bruce, you're the technical guy here. Do you think you can whip up a couple sentences on this?
Well, basically, it works with like a green screen, and a green screen eliminates that color. So whatever that color is, disappears on camera, so you can see through it. So the fact that she's got green glasses makes it disappear, so you can see through it. which is why you don't wear a green when you're doing green screen.
Right.
And I use XSplit to be able to do that. So I'm just going to do a screen share for you guys so that you could see. So right now, this triple monitor thing that you see is just my XSplit. And because I'm doing a screen share inside of XSplit, it's giving me like a tunnel effect. So I apologize for the tunnel effect, but it's the only way to really show you what I mean. When I right click in here in XSplit and I go to the color tab, it allows for what's called a chroma key function. So you guys can't see it. I have to move my, there we go. So when I select this chroma key on and off, let's put none. See, there's my green screen. And when I turn the chroma key back on again, it takes out the green. And what it's doing is it's actually playing a video that I put in the background. And that video in the background is just, I just used OCam. And I took one section of somebody else's video because I wanted a flag. And I just took a video of that sized area, which was exactly squared for Blab. And I put that in the background and myself over top of it.
There you go.
Oh boy. You know, Cliff, sometimes I hear you say stuff and I'm like doing the same thing. Eh? I'm like,
I'm picking on myself here. Look at my face. This is the best. Somebody grabbed this one and I'm like, what was I thinking? What kind of stuff was I smoking? I'm like, wow. No, I'm just joking. It was wonderful. And it was a great explanation. You can see some next to you on the screen here, some of the green stuff that was just removed by our producer as I start talking about it. Where that's how movies are made today. They're not all what they seem to be. Much like we're going to go into Angel, I love you. Oh, Angel. I love you too. Yeah. So there's some sword fighting guys that don't actually look like that on camera. They're probably some sort of orcs or something. They're fighting and holding hands and all that.
And those dots are for references so they can CG over that.
Maybe I could share something because a lot of people right now are, thank you very much, by the way. I'm going to give a shout out to Stephen Haywood. I don't know if he's in the room tonight, but he really helped me with a lot of my plans so that I made sure I wasn't buying things that I didn't need and that I wasn't stuck without things that I did need. And he was kind enough to let me know that I was going to need one of these cables and I'd be waiting another 2 days if my audio mixer's busted, so I have to wait anyways. But if I had my audio mixer, I would be able to use this cable. And this is a 3.5 millimeter to 5 3/4. And you need to have this to be able to plug in some of the stuff that you need. So on a side note, in case anybody's buying more material.
And for people who don't know numbers, it's a phono cord to a mini.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm Canadian. We use millimeters here, eh?
We use millimeters elsewhere, somewhere. So you can see my green screen for those of you, and I've got a background behind me. And once I then throw the button, as she was showing you, in the chroma key, that will disappear, and then I will be stuck here with that as a background. And then I can move myself around and like this, and do a little timming here so you can't see what I'm really talking or not. It's a lot of fun. And so that's how we do it. It's not real expensive. And Angel's going to be doing some production work. Explain what you're going to be doing with this, not just having fun here on Blab.
Yeah, so I have a couple of different plans with this. My first plan is to build some content, and I want to be able to shoot my content without having to edit videos. So I'm going to create my little videos in the background that animate what I'm saying, because I already know ahead of time what I'm going to say, and I'm going to put that into XSplit, talk along with the video, have my music loaded, and then do the recording as I go. So I'm just one shot, and all of my stuff, my content is produced without having to go to the editing table. The second thing that I'm going to be doing is using it for Twitch TV. So I have a Twitch channel that I've just recently started, and the intent is to be able to monetize some of my video game experience. And so I will be like Cliff is right now. And instead of being a Canadian flag video in the background, I'm going to shrink myself down like Cliff is doing right now. And I'm going to be like probably, down here, and I'll be playing my video games behind me. So that'll be Minecraft or Civ 5 or Counter-Strike or whatever game I'm playing that day, or GTA 5, which is so good and addictive, or Ark, which I just bought yesterday, or Civ Beyond Earth. And I got to stop. I should go play games now.
barely inhaling in between those, getting good at that. So yeah, so it's part, it's kind of fun that you can, scare people and whatnot and go in and out of the shot. And if you're doing that, it's called screencasting, for lack of a better term, where you're actually broadcasting the screen and you're in front of it, and then you're able to move in and out and sort of point it, the elephant's front leg and maybe his other stuff over here, and have a lot of fun. Kind of problem is that once you do this, you kind of lose it. All of a sudden, you're kind of like, oh, wait a minute, what happened to his arms? So we don't want
to stay within their range.
Speaking of Angel, thank you so much for coming in with, and his glasses are awesome. They do show.
Thanks for having me. Did I do a good job?
Thank you.
You did great. You always do great, and that's why we're always pleased to have you anywhere around us on Blab or anywhere around us in general. And for those of you guys who don't know, Angel is up in the Great White North with the rest of the hosers. Not that she is one, and she's awesome
Take
too.
off, eh?
Huh? Take off, eh? Yeah, exactly.
So did I earn a plug before I go?
Yes, you did. You. That's what we're plugging what you're doing anyway. But go ahead and drop a link.
Let's do it.
You have to.
So first plug I wanted to give is to Nerd World. You guys got to come check us out Wednesday night, 9 p.m. All the nerds of Blab are on there. I'm on there every week. I have a blast. Second plug that I want to do is right now the website's not built. So if you guys go to ahtv.com, you're just going to see a cheesy WordPress thing that I built. It's nothing special. But in a couple weeks, I've got a new website going up. Thank you very much to John Preto and to Stephen Haywood, which are giving me a hand with some of the stuff that I'm doing. Thank you as well to JS. I'm launching a program right now with Canada's top selling author, and there's some law of attraction stuff in there. There's some entrepreneurial learning in there and some Facebook learning so that you guys can learn how to build an audience like I have. So watch out for that stuff. It should be about 2 weeks to the launch.
Cool. Sounds great.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Again.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming in. A lot of people are asking, what's this show all about? What's the point?
Yeah, I'm asking that same. I'm asking that too. You haven't.
Like, there he is.
I keep asking you that.
Right on cue. He says, what are we doing here? You're just babbling, and I'm sitting there like Ed McMahon on Quaaludes. I said, all right. So we got to define this a little bit, since it is a show and we're doing all this production work. What's the point? If we were just here talking and blabbing, we'd get away with this, but we've got to be a little more professional about what we're doing. So here's the point. Get to it, William. Thank you. It's about you guys. It's, even though you're not on the screen, we're not letting you on the screen. We will. We want this to be about the Blab and live streaming community. And what I mean by that is not only to kind of recap what's going on here, what people are doing, like Angel. We just did that with Angel, so you saw a little bit about what we're about. So we can kind of highlight how people do this, so that you can learn and experience it, not only from watching, but also maybe you want to get your message out there, which is my big thing, is helping people refine or define what their message is and helping them get in front of the camera or whatever they're trying, if they're trying to be behind the camera and work in the production. So there's a lot that we can help you with that. Going forward. But one of the things I'd like to do, and I was talking with Bruce, we only spent about 10 minutes this week, right? Between folk flying here and there and poor cats being euthanized yesterday, day before. It was a terrible Sunday for me personally, and a 16-year-old cat is a sweetheart. And we had to put him down in the morning, on Monday morning at 1:30. And God rest his soul out there. The point here is to have you guys have a place where you can come and learn about whatever it is that's going on or what's coming up, and be able to take that with you so that you can do things here or other live streaming platforms that make sense for you. And again, it means technical things that Bruce can help out with, and in front of the camera things like we just want. You can't help out with anything. I'm sorry. I was trying to give him a prop there, but somebody else give him some props, give him some love over there. And Bruce has been at this for 10 or 20 decades, dozens of years anyway, of making people look good in front of the camera. No plants coming out of your head, no elephants behind you stepping on you, things like that, to make sure that people can pay attention. And then my thing is about getting you squared away from your heart to your brain, and then in front of the camera. How are you coming across here? Are you looking at the camera? I'm not, because I'm looking off at Bruce a little bit because he's so enamoring. But looking at the camera when you're talking to that, and Bruce works with that as well. leaning in, being interested, none of this, none of that, none of the knuckle from the Clintons or anything. But anyway, the idea also is to bring up some things that have happened and things that are coming up in the community here, certainly for Blab, as well as, I don't have a goatee. What's he talking about there, William? Neither of us have a goatee, right, Bruce? You got.
No, I got a full beard. It's got a full beard.
Yeah. Us Germans, we don't produce beard in this area. Okay, just sort of, it's the lighting, right? Yeah, it's actually the gray is what it is. We're both a little bit over one of the hills. I'm not sure which one, but yeah, I know nobody trusts us because we have beards and we are German. So we've got 2 strikes against us. Try to just listen through it. So one of the things,
my wife won't let me shave it off. I've had it before we were married, and I said she won't let me shave it off.
Right. And we won't go into why that is. It's a personal preference. I think it's probably we Germans look better with beards, I suppose. So anyway, the show is about you guys. If that means we are going to have open seats as we go forward, even tonight, if you want to come in and talk a little bit about that, what it means. But really, so there's some things that have been going on this week specifically that have been very traumatic to our live streaming platforms and the community. I'm not going to go into what it was specifically about. There's plenty of information out there. One of the things we want to talk about is, though, in general, people kind of being hoodwinked or duped by people that sound like they know what they're talking about. And this is really important to me personally, because there's so many people that are enamored by someone who sounds good or looks good or both in front of the camera or whatever. And we're going to talk about, we're not going to talk about one of our own here tonight, as I said, but there are plenty of times in which many folks have just been enamored by the Pied Piper syndrome, if you will. And William says he only looks good. He doesn't really sound good, but I will beg to differ with him because I have heard him sing. He has a voice like a whole symphony of angels in one person. So there you go, William. And he's not bad on the mic as well. So he's very good. His voice is fantastic. And his speaking style and cadence also is somebody to look up to and listen to him. And he thinks before he speaks, and he is very clear. So that's a really good example, William Slays, and so forth. But the people who have kind of crafted their way into our lives and look to be social media or leaders in some industry somewhere, we could talk about Martin Shlkreli here in a minute, because what happened was, he went in front of Congress, and there's a number of things. I want you to listen closely. We spent a little bit of time putting together this clip. It's kind of funny, but it's kind of not funny at the same time. So that's what we love to do here, because we're German, we're dry wit. We love to kind of mix the humor in with the reality of it. And what is this GoFundMe thing? Is that somebody? Okay,
that's Bodenweiser. That's Jens.
What is that? Is it Jens? What are we doing?
He's trying to raise $50 by the end of the show.
Okay, it's a joke. See, the German, it's 3 Germans on here now. Jens is a German. His last name is Puke. I think that's how we pronounce it. Jens Puke, like Porsche with an E. He's selling free seminars. Do not click on the GoFundMe, PayPal, and Patreon, and so forth. That's all nonsense. It's silly stuff. So the point is, we need to be more critical thinking. And that's what I love bringing this out in people and say, step back from the pizzazz, the fireworks, the pomp and circumstance, no matter what person, what level the person seems to have in the community or how well they seem to be revered. And also, once you find out that somebody's wronged somebody personally, not third party, is hey, Jen, I didn't see there. Let people know. Take care of others around you. I know a lot of people don't want to do that. And, Bruce and I talked about this. He had heard some things about something going on, and he said, well, I wasn't really sure, and it's not my place. And who am I in this community where there's a leader and it seems to be something's wrong and so forth. So I just urge you to think critically, more so, and challenge your own thinking and the thinking of what you might have already had in place to say, I shouldn't do this, or I should do that, or, I might upset somebody by telling them. And I think a lot of heartache would have been saved in this particular case. Now, with Martin Shlkreli, let's go down that road. He went in front of Congress. He got booted out of there in about 3, 4, and 5 minutes because he was pleading the fifth. I actually went through and watched this. That was the short part. The longer part was when the congressmen were grilling the lady he left behind, who now runs his company that he no longer. He's a big shareholder. She wouldn't even tell him how many shares he has. Well, yeah, Martin's an interesting character here on Blab. He came in about 3.5, 4 weeks ago. And he actually has been. I actually got a GIF of this of him sleeping, and people watching. 170 people in a room. This is this Saturday evening, Sunday morning, 12:30 Pacific time, a.m. 170 people in the room watching this guy sleep. Anybody can explain that to me beyond the ridiculous factors? It's just bizarre how that happens.
Far, and you're taken advantage of, and you lie to the public. You go on company here, lies. It appears that this is cheating the American people.
He meant no disrespect, but in truth, statements made by some of the members of the committee were wrong.
Not a shy person. I would love to talk to Congress. I would berate them. I would insult them. I would try to have a cordial discussion, but I'm sure it would devolve very quickly into a fight.
Nothing but the truth, the truth, the truth.
He refused to answer their questions, and then he called them imbeciles.
But you know why I feel like you're both lying to us?
Price of a drug that fights infections in HIV patients from $13.50 to $750 a pill. And the House Oversight Committee subpoenaed him to appear at a hearing on prescription drug pricing.
They want you in front of the cameras.
That's it. They just want this to be a circus, 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 a circus.
They want you in front of the cameras.
That's it.
And there he is at the end, sleeping in front of the camera. Talk about a circus. And if you notice throughout there that it was quite interesting that his facial expressions, he's trying to make a joke with the lady who he's leaving behind in the dust. He tweeted out right afterward that they're imbeciles, and you heard his own words there that he wanted to go in and have a cordial conversation, but he was going to make fun of them and berate them. And that's a way to have a cordial conversation. Is go in and berate, the Congress. And I'm not saying that the Congress is above berating or that they're that great, but the attitude of this young fellow is just beyond believable sometimes. And so here's the smirk is something else. You're absolutely right. And we actually, if you saw one of the things, thank you, Jens. That's a perfect one. And that's the whole thing is a circus. You talk about somebody that wants attention. And what's interesting, I actually popped into one of the blabs that runs 24/7 just about. And he wasn't there at the time, but there were some people average age about 22 years old. And they were having this great argument, great for them, I guess. And there was no factual information about whether anything they were talking about. They were just saying, I think he's smart. You gave him people give him a bum rap, all of these things, both directions or whatever. And nobody had any information. There was no signs of life or intelligent life on the 4 seats that we're talking. And it's nothing about the, there's a joker for that. It's nothing about the people that were there. They just didn't do their homework. And what was most striking for me is exactly what I was talking about a few minutes ago. There he is, Martin Shlkreli, was that people just believe in this guy because he's got to have something going on because he's worth millions, multiple millions of dollars. Well, he's learned how to use a system. And like, what's that?
I thought I put both pictures at the same time, but go ahead.
All right. And then people don't even challenge when he starts speaking about things. If you know anything about pharma or do any research about what he's talking about, you know that 90% of what he says when he's trying to be serious is not in any kind of factual context, or it's twisted around. So you got to do critical thinking. If you want to back somebody because you think they're worth backing, or if you want to lend them some money, or if you want to support them in some other way, then do your research. That's all we're saying here. So this is more than about Shlkreli or about the next person who might be popping up on the screen and so forth. It's really about taking care of yourself, taking care of your family in a way that you best, and the community that you're part of, wherever the community is, whether it's Blab or something else. Just do the right thing, and that means do your homework. Don't just be enamored by the glitz or the fame or the infamous aspect of who you're hanging around. And there's not a lot of things going on there. So along those lines, Bruce, what's going on? Anything, what's happening on your side? I know you got some things to bring to us here as well.
Well, basically following up on what you were just talking about, is a lot of it has to do with your own personality. And are you a trusting person? Do you trust people easily, or do you really do the fact checking? And some people, especially on this platform, where you can build up that trust so quickly by seeing someone face to face, you get a feel like, okay, I feel this person's real. And so you can follow them. But as opposed to being in front of someone in the same room, you really don't have that full 100% feeling. So when you start trusting someone virtually, it may not be everything that it turned out to be. But I think I did one of my early shows on this, on Blab, was talking about this guy who was saying, I can help you build your Twitter account. And the guy has 5 followers. And it's like, okay, well, prove yourself. And then when you do meet people face to face, follow through and get to know them fully. And I'm not a 100% trusting person right up off the bat, especially if there's any risk involved. I mean, basically, Blab feels like a riskless platform. You can come on, you can not be on, it's your choice. In real life, you sometimes don't have that choice. So I guess do your due diligence is what I'm really saying, and build that trust over time and not real quickly.
Okay. And you want to give anybody tips on that as far as how do they, if someone's not coming to them in the community and saying, hey, look out for Jack or Jill or the next person, that it's been known that they've been taking money or borrowing money or not delivering on what they've been paid to do, if that information is not coming to you, which I urge people to take a stand. And it's not about ratting somebody out, or it's really taking care of your own. And that I urge you to kind of do that in the future. And it's not comfortable, and it's not something that we do willy nilly. And if you know personally of something going on with somebody that's going to affect other people in the community, I think it's kind of your position to do that and either build or break down that trust. And it's hard. I know humans, we don't want to do that. We don't want to be looked at as that person that's passing gossip or something about somebody. And we're getting kumbaya over here.
A lot has to do with your relationship with those people, because sometimes it's very casual, and so you're not really sure what they're doing because they're not sharing with you. And if they're getting into a situation, is it your place because you don't know the behind the scenes, the backstory? You may just know the top level. So even though something is happening, I'm not sure if you have the relationship because you feel, okay, they've built up a trusting relationship and they're on that venture themselves, and they're not inviting you to partake. So you're not going to put your nose in it. Right.
And let's look at the Bill Cosby situation. Not that it's new news, but it kind of falls in the light of a similar situation been going on here recently in a different way, but similar, that if the people had come forward over decades, as long as Bruce has been doing the filming of Bill Cosby and been in the film with him back, if he knew that he was drugged and back in 1980 or whatever, right? It would come out and say, look, I fell asleep in his trailer, and this is Bruce now. It's a little story I'm telling. It doesn't make any sense because it's not true. But, that he woke up and he felt sore and couldn't sit down for a few days. These things are important. And of course, nobody went, it's Bill Cosby versus the little gal or lady or whatever who was taken advantage of. And of course, we understand that piece of it, but just think of how many other women that felt the wrath of this guy in this way.
Yep.
Same thing here, and there's some stuff on the screen you guys can read here. And thank you in the side. Takes courage to stand up and do the right thing. It does, but I think we're moving toward that with this kind of a platform, especially where people coming out. You can, I think you have the support of a community, or you can tear it down. And I think what happened last week with one of our own here is a sad situation. For whatever the reasons are, or whatever you believe, it doesn't really matter at this point. It's more about what's the right thing to do for that. And this is also, I think that Bruce and I were talking about this earlier today. That I think that one of the greatest things about having an online community like this is that you can't get away with this for very long. If you look at days of old, of a year ago, you could be a talking head. You can hide behind your website. You can hide behind other people and these reviews that you have on your website and supportive stuff and referrals and things like that you might have been doing a good job for, might not, maybe false. We don't know. In this kind of environment, you can't do that anymore. After a while, it's going to catch up to you very quickly because people are going to feel a sense of community here. You aren't one to many anymore. Now you're mixed into the group. And I believe that's why it came around and unraveled like it did. And it goes on. There are other people out here in the social media space, Martin Shlkreli aside, that are hoodwinking people and misleading them, and for ego reasons, for psychological reasons beyond that, sociopathic reasons, and that's just the reality. So it's up to each of us to just pay attention, ask the questions of other people, and you know what? If you ask people, they will tell you. If you don't, they won't. And that's, I'm urging people to do it a little bit differently. But I also know that I've been a student of psychology for a long time and been intentionally absorbing as much as I can about behavior. And so I'm pretty alert about these things and aware. But I just ask people to do that, number one. Number two, also alert others in your community if you feel like can't blame me for my trust issue. There's knives and things in people's backs here. If anybody wants to pop in the seat and talk about that or some other things. Now, Bruce, was there something else that you had to bring up? I know there was something else we talked about.
Does it have SBZ? Is that the initials?
It could.
Okay.
Why don't you throw it out there? I think it's worth talking about for 3 minutes. We'll talk about it.
What I did last weekend was Subi Zimmerman came into town.
Yes, that's it.
Okay.
See, something important that people can take something away from this stupid hour-long show. Go ahead. I'm going to let you talk.
Yeah, so Sue came to town, and one of our clients, Sue Meinhate, invited her, and then brought together about 30 of her closest friends in for a nice little workshop on Instagram. And so she asked me to come in, or actually I volunteered to videotape it for her.
Okay.
And we're putting together some clips that the Sue's using. And actually, I just shipped it out, her raw copies today. But I learned something that it is, one thing I learned was it is possible to post to Instagram too much as opposed to like Twitter. Ideally, you shouldn't post, you said, more than 1 or 2 times a day on Instagram, because I guess Instagram, those posts live longer than on like a Facebook or a Twitter. I mean, Twitter, you can post once an hour and get away with it.
Okay.
And it was a great workshop. I met a couple of people who I hadn't seen in literally 5 years. And literally 5 years.
Wow.
Or virtually. And they live virtually 5 miles away. So we're going to get back together. So that not only was I able to bring my online life offline, posting is commenting frequency is different. Okay, definitely. And so, so I was able to bring my online life offline, and I've been doing that a lot lately, is bringing, and actually Jen said that last week, was bringing Blab offline into reality, meeting up with people face to face. And that's where it really is. Because next time I'm in Boston, I know exactly where I'm going.
No, you're not.
To the Red Sox game.
You're not going to threaten me. Oh, you're going to Red Sox game. That's the second person that said that to me today. Like, I know where I'm going when I'm coming out there. I don't a basement dungeon. That's all I got to do. Sleep in a dungeon out there.
Either that or the Christian Science Church. So
something like that, or the Science Museum. That's a good place to go when you're here.
Or the Boston Pops.
Yeah, it's funny. Anthony J. Conklin said, I'm coming up there on like the 23rd, 2 weeks from today. I'm like, oh yeah, all right. He says, you're buying me dinner. So that's the only way I can get people even near me. He's like, you buy the dinner, I'll buy the drinks. I don't drink. So there you go. Well, with that, I think we've got. Yeah, no, let's talk about a little bit before we totally trash a show out. Talk about what. So Susan B. Zimmerman is the Instagram expert, right? She's the one.
Yep.
Okay. So those you might not know about her. So Bruce has been hanging around Susan B. Zimmerman for a while and doing her shoots, right? You do her video and things like that for her sometimes.
Yep. And actually, Vinny's coming to town in June.
Vinny who?
He's bringing the Vinny Vincenzo is coming to town.
And he's coming to Chicago
in June. Is that Vincenzo's coming to town? Susan B. Zimmerman's coming to town. Amy Schmidt-Schauer is coming to town, and a number of other people too.
Before this, yeah.
So that is June 30th. So if you're in Chicago, check it out.
Sunblock in Chicago. I don't think so. It's funny people here tonight. I appreciate you guys in the side comments. Appreciate all that going on. So without further ado, thank you, Jens Oliver Buke in the background, another German here. So this is like a German triad coming at you. Screen shares, is that what William's asking about? We just saw a little screen share on the last show. Sean, the VP of Blab, was in there, and he was sharing the screen sharing, which is the fourth seat situation. So you won't need green screens and all that if you want to share a YouTube video. There is Jens. I think he's frozen in time. No, he's not. There he is moving. He actually is alive, and he is German. Tell by the hat and, of course, the beard that doesn't fill in on the side of the cheeks. Very German of you. Yes. He looks better than us, though. I'm sorry. He's got that. He's rocking that darker beard. Also, old geezers here. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We're going to go out with some blackmail and say thank you very much. Bruce, as you and Bodenweiser exit the room. Actually, I'm going to. What's that? You said beep? You were beeping.
Louder.
No, I'm going to turn it up. I just don't want to talk over you if you had something to say.
I have nothing. I was say thank you all for joining us. I hope to see you next week. Back at our regular time, right? 11 p.m. Eastern.
I believe 11 p.m. Eastern time next Tuesday after the Joel Com Blab Talk Live with Vinny Blabberino. I don't know why I'm flashing like that. A lot of fun. Okay, guys, thanks for being here. More fun next week. We'll have some more guests. I think we're going to have Mr. Jackson on here, talk some more about this stuff about the community and doing the right thing. And all production was done on the spot. On the fly. We had some personal things going on, and Jens decided he didn't get back in the saddle until about 3 minutes before the show. So it was a little bit haphazard, but we're doing it. Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you. Thank you, Cliff.
We'll take care. Next week, we'll be back. Until then, do the right thing. You've been listening to the Bodenweiser und Himmelblau Hour here on blab.im. Thank you for joining.